It is sometime after 3 in the morning. You are not quite asleep. And then the room detonates. A gunshot. A door slammed hard enough to shake the frame. Something heavy dropped in the room next door. You are sitting up before you decided to. Your heart is going. You are listening for the second sound, the one that will tell you where the first one came from. It does not come. Nobody else heard it. Nothing in the house has moved. And the sound you are certain you heard did not happen anywhere in that room. It happened inside your head. It has a name, and it has had one since 1988. But the first doctor to write it down did that 112 years earlier. In 1876, the American neurologist Silas Weir Mitchell described two men who were being woken by sounds that were not there. One reported the sense of a pistol shot or a blow on the head. The other described a noise in his head like the sound of a bell. Mitchell called them sensory shocks and moved on. In 1920, a British physician, Robert Armstrong-Jones, gave the thing a better name and a worse explanation. He called it the snapping of the brain. The name we use now is Pearce's. He put it into print in 1988 in a short note in the Lancet, and the following year he published 50 patients who all described the same event in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry. Exploding head syndrome, which is a poor name for a condition whose defining feature is that nothing explodes and nothing is harmed. Pearce's conclusion is the part worth keeping. He wrote that the benign nature of the condition should be emphasized, and that neither extensive investigation nor treatment were indicated. 50 people arrived convinced something was badly wrong inside their skull. The finding was that nothing was. So what is the noise? Falling asleep is not a switch being thrown. It is a shutdown sequence run in order across systems that do not all power down at the same speed. The leading explanation, and this is still a hypothesis rather than a settled fact, is that in some people that sequence miss times. The cells that handle hearing are supposed to go quiet. Instead, for a fraction of a second, they fire together. There is no sound, no pressure wave, nothing an ear could catch. What there is the pattern of activity that an enormous noise would have produced, arriving in a brain with no way to tell the difference. So you hear it, exactly as loud as it seems. That explains why the details are the shape they are. It is over and under a second. It does not hurt. The absence of significant pain is one of the formal criteria for diagnosing it. Some people see a flash of light along with it, and it is worst when you are stressed or short of sleep, which is a cruel piece of design because being detonated awake at 3 in the morning makes you both. Ask people what they actually heard, and the answers are oddly specific. A gunshot, a door slamming, an explosion, fireworks, crashing waves, buzzing electricity, a loud metallic bang with no source. What almost nobody reports is a voice or a word or music. The brain is not composing anything. It is producing noise, the acoustic equivalent of static at enormous volume, and then handing it to you already labeled as something that happened in the room. Because that is the only kind of thing a sound that loud has ever been. However, for most of the last century, the literature agreed about how rare this was. Papers called it uncommon, arriving usually after 50, a little more often in women. In 2015, a psychologist named Brian Sharpless did something straightforward. He asked, 211 undergraduates were interviewed about their sleep. 18% of them had experienced it. 16% had had it more than once. That is one study of students, and it does not fix the number for everybody, but it settles the direction. This was never rare. It was unreported. Because it lasts less than a second, it leaves no mark, and it sounds ridiculous to say out loud. There is no treatment because there is nothing to treat. What helps reliably is being told what it is. Frequency tends to fall once people stop being frightened of it. So the useful part of all this is the part you are now holding. The next time the room detonates at 3 in the morning and nothing in it has moved, the sound was real, in the only sense that matters. Your own brain made it, and then it lets you go back to sleep.